Happy Thursday. Coming on live today to do a little chat. Today we're going to chat about how to feel the fear, do it anyways, how to know that you want and need shifts and changes in your life, and how to start making those changes, especially now as we are finishing 2022. I can't believe this year just went by so fast. I mean, heck, the last 3 years have just gone by so fast. But I want to start really evaluating, okay, how was our 2022 and what do we want our 2023 to look like? How do we start facilitating that change? How do we start stepping out of the fear and really showing up as our best selves? Because let me tell you, we're always going to feel fear. I too myself, I feel like I'm leveling up and expanding every single month. And as you do new things and try new things and start showing up as your best self, your brain and your body just want to keep you safe. They want you to continue doing the familiar. They want you to continue thinking the same things. They want you to continue showing up in the same way and doing the same things. And when you try to create change in your life, that's going to cause a lot of reactions in your body. And everybody's a little bit different. Sometimes you're going to feel fear. Sometimes you're going to feel physically maybe sick or different ailments. Sometimes you are just going to be exhausted. But it's how do we step up against those upper limits, against those boundaries, and then move through it anyways? Because at the end of the day, your mind, your brain, your body, it's just trying to keep you safe. And it may not be working for you. And so the fear is always going to be there. But if we learn to get really comfortable in the discomfort or be aware when the discomfort shows up, we can then move through it easier and faster and more graceful. Because really, when you are needing change in your life and wanting change in your life, there needs to be so much more stillness and so much more love for yourself than you ever thought possible. Because again, let me remind you, when you feel fear, when you feel the resistance, your body is trying to keep you safe. It is trying to keep you away from pain and harm based on your beliefs and your thoughts. But again, your beliefs and your thoughts may not be working for you. So I saw this in my life, especially when, I don't know about you, but I, as an entrepreneur, and just in life in general, I tried so hard to be in action and doing the right things all the time to be successful, and just in this constant doing and action. And that's what I grew up in, and that's all I knew. And so I thought if I was doing the right things, that everything would fall into place. And while that sounds reasonable, and while I totally thought that was the way to go, I was still waking up exhausted, frustrated, broke, and wasn't seeing any success and any momentum. And so I want you to ask yourself, if you're here with me live now, hello. And if you're watching the recording, welcome. I want you to start asking yourself, okay, how was your year? How do I want to show up in 2023? And be really, really real with yourself of how are you feeling? Because only you know. Whether what I'm going to share with you today and the examples in my life resonate with you or not, that's great. But at the end of the day, only you know what works for you. So you can fool yourself and think everything is good and or maybe everything is good, and that's great too. But you have to start paying attention to how you feel on a daily basis. And I will tell you, I've said this story a few times. If you've heard it, maybe this isn't the first time you've heard it, but you know the movie Inside Out. And if you haven't seen the movie Inside Out, it's actually an animated movie about your brain and how your brain separates all the memories between joy and sadness and anger. And there was a few other ones, maybe jealousy. I can't really remember all of them. But at the end of the day, I'm watching this movie thinking, okay, what are the bubbles in my brain? What are the memories? What are the thoughts that are floating through my brain on a daily basis? And let me tell you, watching this animated movie, I realized I was a really freaking sad person, because all of the bubbles in my brain, my thoughts, my memories were just sad. And when I saw that movie, that was my, okay, something has to change here. And this can't be all, because I don't want to be sad. When I look at my highest self, I want to be a joyful, loving, kind person that isn't full of self-criticism and judgment of myself and others. And that wasn't the case at that time. And so that, for me, watching this movie Inside Out, I knew, okay, I need to change. So maybe you're listening to this now, or things have happened in your life, and I just want you to be real as to where are you right now? If your ideal self was a 10, what number are you living at right now? And you can post it in the comments below, because you are not alone. And it's okay. Again, we are always expanding. There is no shame in where you are right now. And you can change. There is a different way. So I'll tell you a little bit more about my journey. I kind of started already, but I was living in this constant action. And I thought, in order to change, I just needed the right strategy. I needed to wake up earlier, be more productive, do more, have more time, have more money. Sound familiar? I know this is very common, right? We are led to believe these are the things that are going to fix all of our problems: time, money, productivity, all that jazz. And yet, every time I started to just think, okay, if I wake up earlier, if I have more money, everything will be better. And it just wasn't. And so I said, okay, something has to change here, because I do not want to be in constant action. When I look at my highest self, like I have mentioned many, many times, I want to be in love. I want to be in peace. I want to radiate just joy and light. And I want things to flow easier. I want a life that's easier. I don't want things to be hard. And the word hard is kind of subjective, because I still do hard things, but the way I look at those hard things and perceive those hard things has changed so much. And that's why, even when I started this conversation today of feeling the fear and doing it anyways, you're going to feel fear, and it may feel hard, but it's not actually hard when you learn to deal with it, when you learn to expand, when you learn to show up as your highest self. And let me tell you today, and I'll tell you some of the things I've done. So in order, when I saw this movie Inside Out, and I knew, okay, something has to change, because I don't want to be living this way. And I know there's a different way. To be honest, I didn't have that many role models and people in my life that could show me that life could be easier and I could still be happy and successful and create a successful business and be successful, whatever that means to you. For me, it was in my business and my relationships, romantically, and friendships and family. And I didn't really see how it could be easier. But in my heart, I had this knowingness that I knew that it didn't have to be the way that I was taught and that I was going. I just felt like I was on this hamster wheel and I needed off. I felt like everyone was on this conveyor belt of life and I had jumped off and just standing there in the complete unknown. Like, okay, great. What do I do now? So here's what I did. I hired a coach to really start pointing out my blind spots, pointing out where my thoughts and perception of life did not align to my highest self. I also started meditating. This is my personal journey. Whether it works for you or not, that's awesome. We can talk more about what else I did, but I started meditating. I started journaling a lot. I started to move a lot slower and create time for me. I started to take myself out on me dates and just spend time with me and improve my relationship with myself. I started to even shift my workout. So I used to do a lot more high intensity training, but I noticed it was adding to the fuel of the action. So I started to slow down. I started to do more walking. I started to do more yoga and a little bit slower pace because I needed to move from my head into my body. I started to focus on my own femininity and how I could own my feminine flow and my intuition to help me to do less while making a greater impact. I started to be really intentional and slowing down with everything that I was doing. I started asking myself, why do I think this? Why do I feel this? Is this the person I want to be? And how do I want to show up in this moment? And let me tell you, when you're hearing this, you might be thinking, holy crap, Vanessa, it sounds like a lot. And why did you bother opening Pandora's box? And I get this because whatever you call this, self-development, entrepreneurship, life, Sometimes when you want to change, it can feel like a lot. It can feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I don't do any of that. And where do I even start? And I just want to tell you that only you know if it's going to be worth it, because I know it can feel really daunting. Like, oh, I don't want to open Pandora's box. However, it is like, so here's my analogy that I love. Whether you ski or not, you can pretend you're tobogganing. When you go down a ski slope and there's a path already cut, it's easy. It's flowing. You just go down that path. But if you wake up one day and realize, well, I don't want to do this path anymore. I don't like this path, actually. This doesn't go down the hill that I want to go down. And you decide, okay, well, now I need to create a new path. That first time you carve a new path, it's going to be slow. It's going to be really intentional. Might be a little painful. It doesn't have to be, but it might be. It might be a little hard. It might be difficult. But every day that you start to create and show up as the person you want to be, the path gets more and more visible. It gets easier to go down. No? So think about your life in the same way. If you want to create change, yeah, I'm creating a new path. I might have to move slower. I might have to be a little intentional. If you decide, let's say, I'm going to give an example. Let's say you want to be more, want to have more peace in your life. The first day, you might only have peace for a minute. The next day, 2. The next day, 3. It accumulates. And it's a practice. It's something that you just start. You start today and you will move further. I want you to picture this graph, because you don't even have to picture the graph. I'm just going to tell you. If you start today, today is the easiest day that it's going to be for you to start, because the longer you stay in your past patterns and your past habits, the harder it is going to be to change. So if you can start today for a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you decide to do, a journal, a walk for yourself, a meditation, breathing, it's enough. It's enough. And you keep building on it one day at a time. And then before you know it, you'll wake up a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years later thinking, holy hell, how did I get here? And I even recently had that experience, because I woke up and I've been working. It's taken effort. It's taken intention. I have been intentionally shifting my mindset, shifting my thoughts, shifting how I show up for years, quite honestly. And I've had lots of support along the way from different coaches and experts. And I've now decided, okay, I'm living in flow, so much so. And I want to be the example for you now that it is possible, because I didn't have this example. And now I start to see people that are living that way. These types of conversations are a lot more open and readily available, which is why I'm doing these lives. But I recently just launched a mastermind for entrepreneurs. And I had this vision to just create this amazing group of women that would, collaborate and build momentum and support each other on our entrepreneurial journey. And I launched this mastermind a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was even last week. I'm losing track of time. And I did it completely different than any other time. I was moving into my stillness. I was owning my femininity. I actually did less, but I was so much more intentional with everything that I did, completely from my heart. And I made more money. I got 5 people registering right away. The women that have joined are incredible. And I have to tell you, I sit here thinking, how the heck did I do it? But I know exactly how I did. I just believed in the vision that it could be different. And then every day I took little steps to get there. So I want to be the example for you that you can do less and achieve more. You can be successful while owning your femininity, while moving slower by being more intentional. It is totally possible. And I totally believe that you can be even more successful by moving slower, because there's an element of surrender and we get out of our own way. We stop believing that we know everything and that we know how this has to go. we realize, hey, what if I was made for so much more? What if my life could be so much greater than I could ever imagine? And we just get out of our own way because we start living in love and joy and peace. And when you get to this place of love and joy and peace, even if you have it a minute a day, 2 minutes a day, it'll continue to expand. The opportunities are just endless. And why I tell you, your journey, I believe life is a continuous expansion. We are always growing. We are always changing. It's like peeling the onion. And even in this launch, as I launched this mastermind, I had days where my human was in so much fear. Holy crap, can I do this? Is this going to be good enough? Am I good enough? And are people going to like it? And what's going to happen? And I just had to sit with her because she's trying to keep me safe. It's not real. Here's where we have to know the difference between our fear and our intuition. Because some people are going to feel that fear and think, oh, my intuition's telling me this isn't for me. No, you are leveling up. You are expanding. You are growing. And I just sat with her and loved her so much more. Because if you think about it, your body wants to feel safe. And I journaled about this morning. How would you make, if you were in a relationship with someone who didn't feel safe, whether it be a child, a significant other, whoever, and they don't feel safe, how do you make them feel safe? You make them feel safe with a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra communication and nourishment. And that's all I did to her the past couple weeks as I was launching and she felt fear. I just sat with her and said, thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. And I know why you're scared, because you're living in a way that you have that is still new, that you haven't really lived before. You're creating all of this success in a way that you didn't know how. And my body still wants to move into action because she wants to keep me safe. And I just say, it's all good, girl. We got this. I love you. And my cat's into this too. And I love you. And I'm here for you. And that's all I've done. And it eases it. And as you start to build these new patterns and create the new path, yes, there can be discomfort. Yes, there is uncertainty. And you are strong enough and powerful enough and good enough to soothe yourself through it and to step through the fire, to step through the coals, whatever vision you want to create for yourself. You are amazing. And just continue stepping. Even though some days it might not feel easy, it's simple. It might not feel easy, but it can be simple. And the simplicity is just finding that joy, slowing down, being intentional, paying attention to your thoughts, and just loving yourself more. Because, and I know when I say that, if you're just tuning in now and hearing that, you're thinking, oh, this is so cheesy. Yeah, it probably sounds a little cheesy because self-love is something that can be overblown and a lot of people can do incorrectly. You know, having a bubble bath isn't self-love. Self-love is what I'm talking about right now, of knowing that you want a different vision, showing up as your highest self, feeling the fear and then loving yourself through it and not stepping down. Just because my human feels fear does not mean it's real, does not mean it's my intuition telling me to stop. Quite the contrary. It's telling me continue to expand, continue to show up as your highest self, continue to create a new path. And then one day you're going to wake up and think, holy heck, how the heck did I do this? How did I create this new path? And now this path feels so comfortable. Now this path feels so amazing and natural. And I'm actually showing up as my best self. Because that old path that you were riding on was based on other people's beliefs, what other people were telling you. And a lot of those people, you don't like their lives. You don't want to be like them. So why are you still living in their path? You are still living in this path that other people have told you to be and show up as, just like that conveyor belt of life. You're on the conveyor belt. And now we just got to jump off and choose your path. Make your path. And the tough part, but also the exciting part is only you know what that looks like for you. And you don't have to know what the end part looks like. You just have to know your next best step. You just have to know, okay, I'm jumping off. And where do I go from here? You don't have to go from 0 to 100. And that's, I think, where a lot of people get stuck. They're wanting to go from 0 to 100. At the end of the day, you don't have to know what this is. You just have to know what this is, where you are right now. And then one foot at a time, left foot, right foot. And before you know it, you're at your end destination. I saw something on social media the other day, and it was so beautiful. I don't know who it was, but here's what they said. And the person that falls in love with the journey will get further, get to their goal faster, because they don't actually care about the goal. They just love the journey. And I totally feel that even in my life. If every day you love the joy, you love the peace, you love life, you look around you, you slow down, you'll get to those goals and you won't even notice you're there. And they'll come so much more effortlessly, so much more at ease, and be a lot more fun in the process. So just remember to have fun, and that your vision is possible. Just keep taking your next best step. So if you need more support, I am always here for you. Let me know, comment below, DM me, help, and we can chat and I can provide you some resources to support you. If you want to join my mastermind with the other entrepreneurs, we still have a couple spots. So send me a DM and we can chat more about it. But I just want to be that example for you. I want to have these types of conversations so that you know it's possible and that you can create the life that you want. Because I want you to be so happy, and I just want you to live the life of your dreams, whatever that looks like. So I love you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to connect with you and see you on the next live. I will chat with you soon. Love you so much. Bye.